Welcome back to DVC Weekly. This is episode 175. My name is Jason Rippleton. I'm the broker of Buy and Sell DVC. I'm here with Scott Ferrioli.
I'm the owner of DVC-Rental.com and Buy and Sell DVC.com.
And today is June 12th, 2024, which means your 11th month mark is going to be May 12th, 2025. And the 7th month mark is January 12th, 2025. Which I'm guessing, I didn't look at the calendar beforehand, is probably close to marathon weekend?
Probably. Well, it's sometime around there. I'm not sure exactly when, but sometime around there.
Those marathoners come in and they take over Disney World and they're on the road at 2 a.m. and they're by 6 a.m. when it warms up, they've stripped all their clothes along the road.
That is true. It's exactly what happens.
I'll tell you, just for the clothes get picked up, they get donated to so no worries there. By the time, if you're not a marathoner and you roll up to the park, you do not see the clothes on the side of the road. But that all happens before you arrive.
It's like Expedition Everest. You go up there, and sometimes they have the hair bands that the kids throw out on the ride during a race time. There's just clothes and T-shirts and sweatshirts just thrown all over the mountain. People are just discarding them.
And we're going to start on the buy and sell side of things. And today was another question we asked. As a DVC owner or DVC renter, the biggest misconception I hear about DVC from family or friends when they discover I'm a DVC member or DVC renter is, let me ask you this, what's the first thing that you hear?
I know what you're going to say here, so I don't know. I don't want to say that. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to say.
What you normally get, because what I normally get,
what I used to get is don't you go anywhere else? Aren't you sick of Disney? Yeah, so that's what I've gotten in the past. I live here now, so I don't really get it. But when I was living in New Jersey and at the office, and I was going to Disney again, they're like, seriously, again you're going to Disney, nowhere else?
So maybe the feedback that I get, and maybe that's because I live in Orlando, and people must have some knowledge of DVC. In Orlando, the feedback I get immediately, oh, that one doesn't last forever. Oh, that one doesn't. That has an end date, right? Or something? Does it have a D? Like, that's what I get all the time. So this, I'm going to read some of the responses here. Again, this is trying help you out if you're on the fence about becoming a DVC member or not, or maybe a DVC renter. This says, what if you rent points and something happens? Won't you lose it all? If you rent points, you have to take what you can get. So you end up just staying at the places that are inconvenient to the parks. I mean, I don't know if you want to touch on that. You got probably a better response. But, none of that's true, really.
Yeah, none of it is true. If you're booking last minute, there's a good chance that you might get some. The largest resorts, Old Key West and Saratoga Springs, are typically the last to always rent out, or if you're a DVC member, they're the last to be booked up. So they're not near any of the parks exactly. They're walking distance to Disney Springs, and Old Key West is a boat ride to Disney Springs. But if you look at the whole Disney property, like Saratoga Springs and Old Key West are actually in the middle of the map. So while they're not right by any resort, they're actually centrally located. So I mean, a lot of times those are the last ones that are available, and they're the last ones that always sell out. But if you're flexible, I have a friend who comes down here every single year, and every single year when she goes to book, she stays at Saratoga Springs because that's all that's left. And they absolutely love Saratoga Springs. They barely stayed anywhere else. I'd say 95% of the time they're at Saratoga, and they absolutely love Saratoga. So that's the main thing I would say is just not worried about anything with the dates and stuff, but just, you're going to be stuck with something you don't want if you don't book far in advance. And you do have to book a little further out if you're a DVC member, but even if you don't, honestly, the stuff that's left over a lot of times is great, or there's last minute cancellations all the time. So I wouldn't be too concerned about that.
And then the next one people had, aren't you too old to want to go to Disney every year? It's for kids. I mean, there's so many people that come here without kids that are older. They love everything, but I feel like that crowd also loves Epcot the most. They come to Epcot, they want to go around the world, they want to enjoy the pools, the water parks.
I have a friend who's actually down here right now as we're recording this, and he comes down by himself. He's about, I don't know his exact age. He's always been secretive about it for some reason. He's about my age, give or take 2 years.
So 23.
Single guy. He comes down here multiple times a year. He's down here right now. It actually reminds me I'm supposed to go hang out with him at a park sometime this week just to say hello to him. But he's down here right now, comes down a couple times a year by himself. Forget too old. He's like, doesn't have kids, doesn't have a wife. He's here, and he'll meet up with people he's met in the Disney community while he's down here. So there's a lot of great reasons to come here. You don't need kids. You're not too old. Disney's for everyone.
Do you know Professor Leisure by chance on X or Twitter?
No, I do not. I don't believe so.
So he's
Professor Leisure.
I mean, I know Professor Leisure from Twitter. I mean, I know who his wife is. He has at least one daughter, but he's like, I feel like he is like, I don't know what he does for a living. That guy is like at the parks every day, or at the water parks, or he's doing something about ranking the water parks. But that guy is the ultimate adult Orlando park expert, I guess, if you will.
Now that you mentioned it, there's a guy on my Facebook. I don't know him personally. A guy named Brent Dodge. I'm giving him a shout out right here. At one point, it was a couple years ago. I remember he had gone to the park every day for like 500 days straight. I don't know if it's stopped or he's kept going and something has happened. But he's a local. He'd gone every single day for like 500 days straight. It was something ridiculous.
Wow.
There's the people who love the parks and just love going. And if you're local, you've got an annual pass. I mean, it's free entertainment. It's a great option.
And then this is Nicole Martascio. How do you know it's legit? They're all scams. Reply, I do my due diligence and usually rent from the same owner for years when available. That's a renter. Pamela Cunningham, you go to Disney for free. I own a Zimmerman. Don't you get bored going to the same place every year? And I mean, again, you can't get bored here because there's so many different things that you can do. You can't, I mean, even if you come here one time, it's almost impossible to duplicate that exact same trip the next time.
Everything is always different. Kind of like our show here. You never know what's going to happen, and you don't know where you're going to end up. You can be mentioning random people. Everything is different every time.
Kathy Ray Newman. I have had friends say again, you're going, shaking my head. My kids were born with DVC, now 26 and 23, owned since 1995. Now we go, it isn't always for the parks, it's for other things, or just sit by the pool. I mean, there you go. I mean, this person has, they've run the whole gamut of DVC.
Yeah.
I mean, that is, we need to have Kathy on our show here. And this is from Alex. He said, so you were one of those that fell for a timeshare, thought you were smarter than that? Yeah, I mean, timeshares, they have a bad name out there. Every situational comedy show that's lasted more than 3 years, they have some episode that has to do with the timeshare. But yeah, DVC is, we all know that it's, it's not like that if you're an owner or a renter. But I just wanted to hear some of the misconceptions that you hear, because really it's one of those things where, like we mentioned last episode about having a wall up about becoming a renter, people have a wall up about becoming an owner. And I mean, once they break that wall, you become one of those members that, you create memories for 5, 10, 15, 20 years. And it's one of those things where you just can't imagine your life without DVC, because it's just part of your, what you do.
You just had me flashback. I know I've mentioned this on the show in the past. My first DVC memory really is my son waking up at Animal Kingdom with the Savannah View room. He was like 2 years old, and pointing to the balcony while he was still in his little crib or whatever, and say, "Mommy, moo," because he knew that there were the Holy cattle outside. And now that same Mommy Moo kid is driving and going to be, going his junior year of high school and looking at colleges. And meanwhile, I'm picturing the first DVC experience with him was him with the Savannah. That was before my youngest one was even born. And he's gone through that whole gamut of everything. He stayed at a bunch of different resorts. He's been all over the place, and every experience has been different.
If you live here, if you have kids, especially if you live here when your kids are young, we have it. It's a nice thing to experience.
Yeah, and again, when I bought in, I was back in New Jersey, and we were coming down when we first bought it, I think we were coming down, once a year. And then as we bought DVC and kept adding on, like before we moved down here, I was coming down here 3 times a year. Because I was sitting there going, my rooms are already paid off. I've got an annual pass. So all I've got to pay for is airfare and any food we eat down here. And truthfully, we're not big, expensive foodies, especially when you have the little kids. I'm going, do I want to go to Aruba and it's going to cost my family $5,000? Or I could go down to Disney again. My room's paid for, ticket, everything, entertainment's paid for, and I could get a deal on the airfare for $600 round trip for all of us. Well, why the heck am I going to go to Aruba for $4,000? $600. I'm going to go to Disney, and I know I'm going to have a great time, and I know everything's going to be clean, and I know when we go to the bathrooms in the parks, they're going to have the little urinals, so my kid can go to the bathroom by himself. It's everything is geared towards families, and Aruba is an awesome place to go to. But it's like when this is so much cheaper, and you're locked in, and you know you're gonna have a good time, and it's hard to go other places because you know everything is safe and kind of like perfect in the Disney bubble.
I don't think I've ever heard anyone's. I mean, I like how you just throw in one of the reasons
urinals?
you came was the urinals.
I think I mentioned on the shows. As an adult, as a person who has kids, you have boys, especially as a boy dad, you sit there and you appreciate stuff like that. Who the hell cares about urinals? When you've got a little 2-year-old or something, 3-year-old, and you're like, he can walk up and there's a little urinal just for him. You're like, this is great. This stuff is a lot of times lower. They've got like a lowered blower that the kids can use. I'm like, it's little stuff like that just makes it feel special and like they care about kids and families. It's a little silly thing with a little urinal, but it's very helpful when you've got little boys.
And now we're going to transition from
How do you transition this
review? Here we go.
Oh my gosh.
Come here, I'm gonna eat you! Get in my belly!
Speaking of urinals, we're back at Flo's. We're at Flo's Via Cafe in California Adventure. Right now, we went through the somewhat lame peach pie from 2 weeks ago. This time we got the Flo's Classic Shake. So it's the vanilla chocolate strawberry shake, one of them, topped with road gravel, which is just end up kind of like ground up Oreos on top of it for $6.79. They also serve it in a souvenir glass for $15.79, but we did not get the souvenir glass. It was a good milkshake with some Oreos dumped on top, literally nothing special. I mean, honestly, it's something you could have got anywhere else nearby. And it was just served in like a little plastic Dixie cup almost, or like a Solo cup, but clear. So nothing was really special about it. I'll give it a 7.5 in terms of the taste on the milkshake scale, but honestly, I would not get this again. I find it to be a little bit of a waste. It was basic, honestly, just like the peach pie. The Grand Californian had some really, really good food that we've had, and lots of different snack items and stuff, but the 2 things we had at Flo's were both underwhelming for us.
And now we're on to the DVC-Rental side of things, and we're back to Featured Resort Series.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of positive feedback on the featured resorts, so we're going to continue doing them periodically. I don't do them too many in a row. I'll pepper them in, space them out a little bit. Today we are going to do Disney's Riviera, which is probably the least known Disney resort as it's the newest construction at Walt Disney World. It's European Riviera inspiration, so it draws from the elegance and charm of the European Riviera from both France and Italy. As somebody who went to France and Italy last year, I love the way it's designed. When you're sitting outside, they'll pump music in, and it's kind of has that. Normally, it's a lot of times it's like instrumental music, but it reminds you of being in Europe. No words, but just being in Europe. Really great. It's on the Skyliner, so you've got the Skyliner access, so you can take the Skyliner over to Epcot or Hollywood Studios. They've got character experiences at the resort as well. If you do the dining option the character dining at Topolino's, they've got Mickey Mouse, Minnie Mouse, Donald Duck, and Daisy Duck in stylish European attire. I have not done Topolino's yet. It's one of those ones that I keep hearing great things about Topolino's, and I want to check it out. It's a little on the expensive side, but I do want to go there. Just haven't made it yet. That followed up on that one it says that the European-inspired dining at Topolino's. The resort also offers dining at Le Petit Cafe for coffee and pastries, Primo Piatto for casual meals. We absolutely loved Primo Piatto. We've gone there twice now for breakfast, and I've done a few reviews on them in the past. I don't know exactly what episode they were, but they've had really, really good breakfast at Primo Piatto, inexpensive, and that's also where they have the chocolate chip banana bread. So really been happy with Primo Piatto for less expensive options. It's one of the only resorts. At this moment, it's the only resort that has the tower studio, which means that it can sleep two. Of a studio that sleeps two. When the new Polynesian is going to be built, they're going to have something called a duo studio, which is the same exact thing. They're going to have just two in the room for less expensive options. And this features a queen size bed, kitchenette, and balcony with scenic views. Again, this is only offered here, less expensive if you've got a room just needed for two people. So cool option to have. That's the only one right now, except when Poly comes online. Another great option, another cool thing is that Riviera is the art collection at Riviera. This has by far the most artwork I've seen in any Disney resort, around the lobby, through the hallways, and even in the rooms. Tons of Disney artwork in there, with paintings, sculptures, other decorative elements. Absolutely loved staying at Riviera with some of the cool Disney artwork in there. Under recreation activities, they've got the fitness centers, jogging trails, movie screenings under the stars. My sons absolutely love playing bocce there. That's right outside of Primo Piatto, and that's also one of the places that they pump in the music. So we'll sit down sometimes. There's some benches there. My wife and I will get a gelato right by the pool. We'll sit there and let the boys just play bocce, and they've got the Italian and, again, Riviera-inspired music playing in the background. Really, really nice scene. Also, they got a lot of stuff right around there. They got large chess pieces for people to play with. There's lots of outdoor playing activity right there. Another great thing, again, it's going with the Skyliner, is just the proximity to the parks. Super close to Epcot. Hollywood Studios is a little bit further, but I mean, taking the Skyliner itself is just fun also. So really, really nice option to be on the Skyliner with access to both parks. Super easy. And one thing I do want to add on here that's a lot of people don't mention is that if you are not staying here, this is a very, very hard resort to park at. They really don't let you park and go get food or do anything. You have to be staying here. They are really, really tight on guests. So
is this from your experience or? From
a lot of stuff.
Something must have happened.
No. There's no story. Come on. No. It's stuff.
I needed to go there to use the urinal or something.
Stuff I've read online about how hard it is. Once my son, his friend was staying there. It was for her birthday, and they had a bunch of people over. And they were actually pretty cool with that because we knew exactly what room they were staying at. But they were just she was having a couple friends over to go in the pool and hang around the resort and everything. And once we gave the name and the phone number, they didn't have a problem letting us in. They would not have let us in if we did not have all that information. But just Beach Club, Bay Lake Tower, and Riviera, I think, are the three toughest resorts to park at. To get through security if you're not staying there. Because again, a lot of people want to park close and then try to hop on a mode of transportation and go to the parks. They don't want to do that because they want to make sure that they have plenty of room for the people who are, staying there to park their cars. So they're relatively strict. But yeah, Riviera is one of the strictest as well. So definitely be careful about that.
And I mean, I don't know why, but when I think of resorts, if you were to come here on a vacation and you weren't going to go to the parks, mm-hmm. Riviera and Copper Creek are on the top of my list for me. I mean, and I like Riviera, when you're at the pool and then you see the water and then you can see Caribbean Beach. And I mean, it's just a nice, I feel like you're at, I don't know, it just feels nice and relaxing. You can just at the pool there.
Yeah, I agree.
The Skyliner.
Yeah, that's what I was going to mention. Hop on the Skyliner. You've got the great views from the Skyliner. They'll take you over to the Beach Club boardwalk area where you can walk around those resorts. And plus, you've got all the food options and the entertainment of the boardwalk easily accessible from the Skyliner. So, yeah, if you're not planning on going to the parks, Riviera is a great choice.
To me, that's number one. I don't know why I've got Copper Creek number two. I think it's a great resort to just, enjoy. But yeah, I think it's a nice resort.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's all I have. That's all you have?
Yeah, Might be a little short today. I'm not sure. Might be the same as usual. Who knows? We went on a tangent about urinals, which nobody was expecting. So, yay, you did that.
We'll see you next week.
Thanks for watching. Please, always, we appreciate you all. If anything you want to add in the comments, preferably that's not urinal related, feel free to add the comments. Or you know what, if you've got a little boy and you appreciate the urinals, let us know as well. But thank you so much for watching.